global news, and what will really be in the spotlight this week will be the FOMC meet. So today is the start of that most crucial meet, and in a rare occasion, it is unclear whether the Fed will raise rates or pause. In fact, there was a fifth of a chance, 0.2% chance, that the Fed would actually raise by 50 bips, which has now gone away. There's a 0% chance of that anymore. Most economists not projecting that or taking that absolutely off the table. And Fed's meeting this week is different because it follows the sudden collapse of confidence in the US banking system following the government takeover of SVB, as well as the fall of the Swiss banking giant Credit Suisse. And one of the main cues will be the Federal Reserve's meet and its outcome, which we will know late tomorrow evening. It will be crucial as the meet comes on the back of the banking crisis and could prove to be an inflection point. Going by the commentary we've heard from the chairman, Jerome Powell, it would be unlikely to see a pause. We can expect a 25 basis point rate hike instead of a 50 basis point rate hike, which I did mention. My colleague Lisa is here with all of those details.
Well, the Fed FOMC meet is expected tomorrow, and it will go on till Wednesday, where the outcome of the rate hike decision is likely. Well, this is the first meeting since the SVB and Signature Bank crisis, and also the first meeting since the Credit Suisse as well as the UBS deal. Well, the question that arises is whether the rate hikes have reached the crucial inflection point. Just last week, the European Central Bank, they stuck by its inflation fighting spirit by hiking its key interest rate hike by 35 bips points. Well, this time for the FOMC meet, the consensus is not very clear because there is uncertainty regarding this time's FOMC policy on account of the banking issues. Just 2 weeks ago, the debate was around whether the rate hike would be between 25 bips to 50 bips at the March meeting. However, expectations are now rife that there will be a 25 bips rate hike, or there might be even a pause at the meeting. So the key commentary to watch out would be whether Fed would prioritize its fight against inflation or whether it would focus on maintaining the financial system, whether there would be a contingent impact on any other banks, and most importantly, whether this would mark a pause in the rate hikes.
Right, and all eyes on the Fed today. And moving on, we will be sticking to the global banking crisis, and the lawyers from Switzerland, the United States and the UK are talking to a number of Credit Suisse additional Tier 1 bondholders about the possible legal action after the state-backed rescue of Credit Suisse by UBS wiped out AT1 bonds. Swiss regulators announced that the AT1s, widely regarded as the relatively risky investments, will be written down to zero, while stock investors will receive payouts as a part of the takeover, which angered the bondholders.
Well, and quickly moving back to the US, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen said that while authorities believe they've taken sufficient action to stem liquidity problems in the banking sector, the government is prepared to guarantee even more deposits if the banking crisis gets worse. She said, and I quote, "The steps we took were not focused on aiding specific banks or classes of banks. Our intervention was necessary to protect the broader US banking system, and similar actions would be warranted if smaller institutions suffer deposit runs that pose the risk of contagion."
And during a surprise visit to Kyiv, Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida offered strong support to Ukraine and invited President Zelensky to participate in the Group of 7 summit in May. Remember, this visit comes while China's Xi Jinping was in Moscow in a bid to strengthen ties with Russia.
Well, and Nike's holiday quarter earnings and revenue beat Wall Street estimates, although its bloated inventory continues to weigh on its margins and sales in China fell short of expectations. Nike, just like other retailers, has been in the process of offloading a glut of inventory brought on by supply chain disruptions and shifting consumer demands that's been weighing on its margins. Meanwhile, Nike CEO John Donahoe, apologies for that, had already warned investors of gross margin hit during the holiday quarter.
And Chinese-owned short video app TikTok faces a pivotal moment as the app faces growing pressure in Washington and calls to ban the app by many in Congress who fear its US user data could fall into the hands of China's government. Remember, in 2021, the app globally had more than 1 billion monthly subscribers.
Well, and in global news otherwise, at least 2 people were killed and hundreds injured in Pakistan after a magnitude of 6.5 earthquake hit Pakistan and Afghanistan, with tremors felt in India till New Delhi. The earthquake's epicenter was 40 kilometers southeast of the Afghan town of Jurm, near the borders with Pakistan and Tajikistan.